Hello there, my name is Bruce Rain from Brankus Creations, and thank you very much for joining me on my stream. Looks like we've got a few people here, so I'm going to just do a quick little shout out. Hello Steve, hello Thomas, hello T Jackson, SadMac356, who else we got? J Orr, I've got GT is here, hello GT, or he was 20 minutes ago. Hot Rod, Jay for House of Moth is here, Joe Williams, All Things DG. Thank you to everyone for joining. It is a rather beautiful sort of winter's Sunday here at the moment. It's lovely outside. Does the picture look a little bit low refresh rate or something? Anyhow, we'll see how we go. We will persevere and we'll hope it all goes well. So I mentioned in the first thing I have to do is apologise for the helicopter noise. They finally found me. I don't know what's going on, but it's been doing circles around the area, so I suspect they're chasing down a criminal or some sort of traffic offence or something. But anyhow, yeah, so we're competing with helicopter noise, at least for the start of the live stream, and for that I apologise. Okay. So, as the description of the live stream said, I have basically got this Macintosh SE 30, and it's been sent to me in a really, really poor state. It is in this condition because someone tried to recap it themselves. Now, as I have said many times before, this is not a channel designed for shaming people who have a go at this themselves, though I must say in this particular instance this person was probably better off practicing on something else first, because this one is in a bit of a mess. Now I'm just going to jump across to the top view here. We can actually see the board. Might zoom in a little bit because give you a slightly better view of things. That's the other way. That's a zoom there. Yep. There we go. Okay, so you can see that some of these capacitors have already been removed. As we've got 3 removed here, we've got 3 removed here, we've got 1 removed here, 1 removed here, 1 removed here, and 1 here. There is actually only 1 still on here, and that is this little guy. Now, I don't know if he's actually the original cap or has been replaced or something like that, but anyhow, to some extent they've made my job easier by removing these caps, but by the same token they've also made my job harder because they have torn off a lot of the pads in the process of removing them. Hey, that's not a Mac Portable. Oh, darn it. You're right. I'm going to say repairing rather than just recapping. Repairing. That's spelled right. A Mac SE 30. Boom. There we go. Thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. I do often forget about that little bit of text down there. I just do that for the people who sort of jump into the stream not from the beginning and look, oh, what are we doing here? I was like, yeah, let me tell you what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Some of this looks fairly straightforward, and it's going to be a lot of trace repair or sort of pad replacement, pad repair. And I'm going to be doing it the way I do it. There are lots of people that do this in different ways, but I will be doing it in the way that I do it. And so don't want to be hearing people saying, hey, why don't you do it this way or why don't you do it that way? This is the way that I like to do it, so I'm going to do it this way. It's particularly worrying around in this corner here. This one looks a bit messy. We'll have a look at that under the... Oh, don't touch it again. Oh, this microphone? Or this microphone? This one gets a bit crackly sometimes. I am aware of it. I do have a replacement cable, and all I need to do is crawl under the table and replace the cable. But I only remember it while I'm live streaming, not when the live stream is finished. So I sit down here and then it's like, oh yeah, the microphone's crackling, and it's like, oh yeah, it has been doing that for a long time and I still haven't done anything about it. I do apologise. The bench mic, this one here. Yeah, okay, so I've got this one. I can always switch this one off if needed. So, because I've got this one. This is a backup. So I can go... Man, that was loud, wasn't it? I saw the thing spike. Check 1, 2, check 1, 2. So we'll leave it like that for the moment. If I go quiet, let me know. Old Retro Comp. Hello, Tone. How are you? Sam Johnson. Did I say hello to you? Michael Mullet's here. Shady Robot. New Retro Repair. Have I missed anyone? If I have, I apologise. It's nothing personal. So once again, we're looking at this SE30. The first thing I'm going to do is remove this capacitor here. We will also replace these two axial capacitors, even though these aren't very prone to leakage. We will replace them anyway because we've got it on the bench and replacing everything. We might as well replace those. Static is louder than voice. Where's the static coming from? Hang on. Hang on. 1, 2, 3. Oh, shivers. That's terrible. That's really bad. What's happened? Sorry. Oh. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I clearly have some problems with the microphone here. So we will have to keep using this microphone, so I do apologise. This one here is clearly not doing anything good at all. So, yeah, sorry about that. I'm just going to switch it off. I can't really see much point in using it. All right, Sean, welcome to the live stream. You just turned up in time for me to be experiencing all sorts of audio issues. Namely, the cable connected to this microphone is really, really iffy. And so it goes crackle, crackle. I'm just looking, at least the noise levels are a lot lower. Quiet. Yes, okay. All right. Let's see how we go now. I apologise. We will just hope that this microphone doesn't stuff up, and then I will have to try and figure out what's going on with the lapel mic. All right. Okay, so let's just go back and do a quick little recap of the recap. I am going to be removing this cap. I'm going to be removing these two caps. The other ones have already been removed, but they've been removed in a way that's left us with a fair bit of damage on the board. I've also noticed that there's quite a bit of green on there, you know, sort of some of that green, you know, copper corrosion, which suggests that this probably won't work until it's been ultrasonically cleaned. So this may end up being a two-parter. We've got quite a bit of sort of plastic damage melting here. There's some melting around here, some melting here, some melting here. So obviously the person that was using their soldering iron with this, they've, you know, touched that on some of these things, and look, it happens. I mean, it's you know, it's a trait of a beginner, which is fine. You just have to learn and get better at it. But as I regularly say, start on something that you don't care about. Don't start on an SE30. Practice on an old VCR or an old IBM or something like that. Scunge. So that's the glossary of terms. You've got gunge, which is dry residue. You've got scunge, which is moist residue, and then you've got punge, which is gaseous residue. So if I hit some gunge or scunge with the hot air station and it stinks, that's when it becomes punge. Okay, so glad we got all that sorted. I'm just getting these RAM sims out. It's a really, really kind of scary process because these are plastic sim sockets. They're actually held in by little plastic tabs that snap off really easily, and I don't want to snap them. I have little 3D printed things that I can use to replace them, slot over the top, but I'd really not have to go down that path. I'd like to be able to return this to the owner in the same condition. My old IBM came with tantalum caps. Okay, fair enough. So we have to find something worthless that has surface mount electrolytic caps that's old, that you can practice on. Right, let's, I'm going to bring up my service software, and I'm going to go here to have a little look-see. Yeah. And here we have SE30. This is job number 128. So let me just 128, and then we'll put this out of the way, ready for when we're going to test it. How's everyone doing, by the way? I hope everyone is feeling good and healthy and having fun and all that sort of stuff. Let's get this. Oh, I should also mention there's a crystal oscillator missing from this, but thankfully it's the standard clock one. I have plenty of replacements of those, so somewhere I have plenty of replacements of those. So I'm going to have to do a Steve from Mac 84 and rifle around in all my little boxes and things until I find them. Right, so let's jump across to the microscope and let's have a look at this. We'll start to get a better idea of the level of damage that we have here. I am going to just whip off this cap, whippy whip. Let's get some focus happening. Thank you for your patience. Right, so you can already see some exciting stuff going on over here. There is meant to be a pad there, and it's not there. So let's just get this last cap off, and then we can start thinking about how we're going to right some wrongs here. This is a very, very, very crusty SE30. Fair bit of leakage going on there. Oh, Eric, hello, thank you for joining. Okay, so for those who aren't aware, Eric is the creator of the Blue SCSI, which is, for people in the vintage Mac world, is a very important thing with our failing SCSI hard drives. I am literally getting to the point now where pretty much every SCSI hard drive I pull out of my drawer and go and test out has either failed or is failing. So, you know, it's just so important for us to have these, these replacements. And I mean, just for example, yesterday I built a few Blue SCSIs. I built 4 of them, and oh boy, it's a quick, easy thing to do yourself, I tell you. So, so if anyone wants to check out information about the Blue SCSI, I would recommend going to the website scsi.blue. That's it. That's the URL. SCSI, SCSI.blue. I'm pretty sure you know how to spell blue. And you'll go in there and there's information about where you can buy them. And I might actually turn my fume extractor on so that I don't get a face full of flux fumes. Safety first, always. Here at Branches. Now the chat is going by pretty quickly, so I will do what I can. Oh wow. I'll do what I can. Oh, thank you very much for that, Jay, putting up the link. Right, so first thing we need to do is we need to clean some of these pads. We need to make them so that they are ready for new solder. At the moment they're not. If I try and put solder on these, it's just going to, as you can see, it's not sticking. You can see here where there's all this black stuff on the end here, and the solder's just not sticking to that. So I need to convince it to have solder stick to it. And I do that with heat. I do that with gentle, super gentle rubbing. I'm going to have to be probably more gentle with this one than I am with others, and the main reason being that these pads have clearly been knocked around a bit. And so I have concerns that they might come off a little bit easier than they would on if it had not been touched. But as I say, once again, it's very easy to look at something like this and badmouth the person who actually did this work. But you know what? That's not what I'm about. I'm about people getting out there and giving it a try, learning from your mistakes and getting better at it so that the next one you do will be better. So I'm basically just using flux, which is what do they call it? A gel flux. It's a sort of flux that you would use for BGA or ball grid array rework, that sort of thing. And it's a no clean, which means that you can theoretically leave it on, though I never would. And it's good quality stuff. It's Amtech. There are links in the description. Okay. I just realised that I'm actually working on this here, and you know what I should do? I really should go to the really, really bad pad. There's one particular pad on this which is really bad, and I should probably look at that one first. Yeah. Joe, hello, welcome to the live stream. How are you today? dare say it will be Saturday evening where you are. My apologies, Joe. I still don't have that SE30 board of yours. It is in this country, but the person who currently has it in their possession, while they are making plans to come and see me, I don't think we have a fixed date yet. So I do apologise that I haven't done that one, but I can't do it if I don't have it, so it is coming. Right, well that looks like the person has potentially busted this trace. We'll just see if it is still in one piece. Oh, it is still together. That's nice. We can probably just firm that up with a little bit of solder on top. Solder. Oh wow. I need a new blade. You can't really see it, but when I'm scraping, I'm leaving little lines, which means that the blade's all yucky and has to be replaced. Yes. Well, this one's quite different to yours, Joe. This is one where it suffered a little bit of recapping manhandling, and we just need to see if we can fix it up. We've got to, sort of create a few traces and whatnot. Well, we've got to do a few repairs. So as you can see here, pad gone. This one goes to there. Okay, I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. The flux has gone all goopy, and it makes it really hard for me to scrape. So I'm going to clean some of that flux off. So what I need to do here, I've got to get this replacement cap on here, and I have to do it in a way where it's reasonably secure. And at the moment, I don't have either pad to work from, so I'm going to have to try and create some sort of reasonable anchor point on this side, which will hopefully give us all we need for this side. Because this here, what I would normally like to do is I'd normally like to run a wire right back to the via. The via for this one is, I think, one of the pins on this. So, and I'd really rather not run a wire around the outside there. So we'll just see how we go. Well, we're going to play this one by ear, I think. SE21. Hello, Dana. Hello, Dana does stuff. I'm very well, thank you. How are you? Hello, friends. So, all right. So I'm going to just very quickly divert my attention to somewhere else on the board, because I know what I'm going to do here. I know the strategy. That's all fine. But over here, near the serial number, we have a bit of a mess. And I really need to figure out what's going on with this. We're going to have to get this serial number up, unfortunately. I used the old Twittery thingy to send out a message today, which is not something that I'm used to. I don't normally send out little twats, but I did today. I have a pair of tweezers. Here it is, which is really good for getting serial numbers off, but I couldn't find it. Max, hello. I should say something about my good friends at PCB Way. They are a very good one-stop shop in terms of PCB prototyping, assembly, 3D printing, CNC, you know, real one-stop shop, and fine quality. Okay, let me just scrape some of this away. You can get a better look at this. So, as horrendous as this looks, I think this will actually clean up all right. So I'm not too freaked out anymore. I was freaked out before. I don't know if you noticed my freaked out face. Okay. Oh, hello. Hello, Retro Techie. Techie, thank you for joining. Oh, I retweeted your twat. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm so not au fait with that sort of stuff. And here we have, this is where we're missing our little crystal oscillator. And I will leave it to the people who have committed this to memory to tell me. This doesn't look too crash hot, does it? The people who have committed this to memory to tell me what the frequency is of that oscillator, which is the one that's used to keep time. Standard, it's a standard speed, and you know, people like, you know, Joe, he's got that committed to memory, but I don't. Right, so someone's had a go at removing this battery holder by the looks of it, and gosh, well, gosh. Yes, no, this one isn't the one that Mac 84 sent. There are, I mean, seriously, I should just be getting called the SE30 guy these days. People just keep sending me more and more SE30s. But that one is in the country, but it is not with me yet. There have been some delays in getting it to me. Oh, that's nice. I like that. I think we might replace this battery holder. What do you think? And that's cool. I like the way that's come off. I might just move that over here. I'm going to have to get a little bit creative with that one too. Oh gosh. Oh, where is it? Come off, you. Oh, it's fallen off somewhere. Oh, there it is. Just going to put that there. Somewhere. Okay, so battery holder has come off. There it is. Whee! And I will put a new one on there because I'm a nice guy. This has clearly had some battery leakage. I'm not going to lie. So we might have to get a little bit creative when we put the battery holder on. But the first thing we need to do is we need to clean this up. I mean, wow. Yeah, I'm not the first person. Oh, hello, look at that. Oh, look at this. Thankfully, these sorts of components are pretty easy to replace, but we'll see if they need replacing first. Oh, we found a nice big trace break there. Right, there to there. Nothing there. Nothing. Nothing but void. Can I work on something else? Does anyone mind if I work on something else? Whew. Oof, oof, oof. Yeah. Well, of course, we do have that luxury these days of being able to actually get a whole new motherboard for this. There are repros available that have been reverse engineered. And you can just take all the components off, but I don't know. Yes, it does, doesn't it? I really can't go on to anything else now because because of the video description. Basically, it says they told me this SE30 was unrepairable. And I know what you're thinking. You're saying, who's they? I'll tell you who it was. It was my friend Click and my friend Bait. I could fix anything. Not quite. Right, let's start figuring out what we're going to do here in terms of... Get down, you stupid thing. You thing. With your thing ways. So what I need to see all around here is I need to see shiny. I can't see matte. It has to be shiny. And of course, some of these areas where we don't have shiny, well, we don't have shiny. We don't have shiny here. We don't have shiny here. We don't have shiny here. Which means there's still work to do. I do not want that Quadra 840 AV. I already have one here at the moment, which has been here for a long time. 840 AVs suck to do repairs on. Just saying. Now, what do you reckon? What do you reckon on these little diodes here? Bit crusty. There's a nice little leg of that diode that's come off. Wonder if I have spares of these. A capacitor selection question. You can. I can't guarantee you'll get an answer, but you can certainly ask the question. Yeah, this board does seem to be held together by the gunk. By the way, a quick shout out to all of my subscribers. I hit 17,000 the other night. It's pretty amazing. It's very impressed. Super secret project. Joe was assembling a super secret project. And I discovered my soldering handle failed mid-project. Uh-oh. Well, I did actually, I did refer to you at some stage there, Joe. I was referring to your awesome knowledge of things. And I said that I just know that Joe will be able to rattle off the frequency of the crystal oscillator used for the real-time clock, which I know there are several other people that can as well, but I used you as an example because I knew it was something you would have committed to memory. Right, let's see if I do actually have replacements for this diode. I need to get these little codes off it. It's A6, is that a P or a D? Who knows? 32.768. I will remember that one day. One day it will stick in, but at the moment we're not at that day yet. I'm just saying. Right, let's see if we can find some diodies. For anyone who isn't aware of the purpose of a diode, it is something that allows electricity to flow in one direction and not the other. And you think, well, what on earth do you want to do that for? Well, I can give you one very good example. You might put a diode in to protect the circuit of something that perhaps runs on batteries. So if some clown puts a battery in around the wrong way, it doesn't fry it. So bummed. Okay, let's see if we can find some things and some stuff. What have we got there? I have all these containers of leftover of extra bits. I don't always necessarily know what they are. Okay, that's not it. Where am I going to put all these? I need to put them somewhere. I'm really running out of space here in a big way. Time for another clean. That's that. It's caps. Well, here's some miscellaneous. Oh, look at that. Oh no, they're are they? Are they capacitors? Yeah, they're capacitors. Misc. Here's another misc. What's that? Oh, we've got fuses here. Isn't that cool? I've got all sorts of bits and pieces in here. I've forgotten I even had these. Oh, cool. There's another misc. Here we go. Down the bottom there's a misc. There has to be more than I am currently finding. There must be another container somewhere that I haven't found yet, because there are things that I know I haven't been able to find yet. What about this one? Some interesting bits. There's some interesting bits here as well. Oh, look at these interesting bits. That's a transistor, that's not a diode. What are these ones? I'm hopeful that I have a spare. Oh, and of course I've got to find those oscillators as well, don't I? If I don't find those, it would be bad. Oh, hello, look at this. 2 super chats here. Thank you very much to Ron, and thank you very much to Justin. Thank you. Oh, sorry, yeah, I do apologise for the fact I don't have my lapel mic working properly, so as soon as I walk away from this microphone, I'm all... nothing. You can't hear me. Sorry. I'm not sure what's going on with this microphone, but it ain't working properly, so I switched it off. See what we have here. Oh crap, it's upside down. This is a KA2. So no, I do not have a replacement for these. This is disappointing. Oh well. We'll figure it out. Don't worry, we'll figure it out. Right. So I want to try and get the solder out of some of these little vias here so I can use them as anchors and stuff like that. Thank you, Bill. Farewell. Round about this particular point in time, I can just imagine people are thinking, oh my god, this stream's going to go forever. It's never ever going to end. Do you know what? If it ends up having to be a two-parter, finish it off tomorrow, something like that, that's all fine. So I know that Steve from Mac84 was super keen to do a live stream as soon as I've finished mine, wasn't he? Wasn't he, Steve from Mac84? He wants to show the world his fancy new equipment that he bought. I won't let the cat out of the bag though. No spoilers. Am I using a C4 solder tip? I am currently using a B, I think it's BC2, something like that. There is a link to it in the description, the tip that I like to use, that I prefer to use. It's a bevel tip. Having said that, the bevel is looking a little bit worse for wear these days because this one's well used. Just trying to suck all the solder out of these vias. The more solder I can get out, the better. It's easier to do from this side because there's very crusty corrosion on the other side, and so the solder is more likely to go liquid from underside of the board, whereas on the top it's just you just can't get the heat where you want it because of the crusty bit on top. So the idea is I try and get as much solder as I can out from this side, and then I get it from the other side, and it generally works a lot better that way. Start the good side, finish on the bad side. Okay, let's see how it looks on the other side. Ow, just burned myself. Hazard. Thank you for your contribution, Jay, of is it fixed yet? It is not fixed yet. What are you doing? I've got a spider on my mouse. Just a little one. Okay, so that's those two. Let's see if we can... So they're the ones I've managed to break through, which is good. Though I do not like the state of that via there. These ones I have to try and get a bit more heat happening. Some question, does removing solder from vias ever cause a problem? Or conversely, filling in a blank via with solder? No, not that I'm aware of. The other day I did a little private live stream, and by that I mean I'm not talking like OnlyFans type stuff, but it was one where I basically do the stuff that I normally do, but I do it with a fair bit of cussing. And for anyone who is thinking to themselves, you know what, I wouldn't mind checking that out at some stage in the future, I wouldn't mind hearing a bit of Brankus cussing, you will get access to those private live streams via the MacYak Discord. So if you join the MacYak Discord server, you will get sort of notifications of that type if I do decide to do one of those private live streams with lots and lots of filthy language. One of my fellow Macyackers might be able to put a link to that Discord server if people want to join. This is obviously Macyak is the group, so what would you call it, podcast, weekly YouTube show type thing, where we talk about all things Apple and Macintosh. We are not just full-on blind Apple fanboys, and we are highly critical of Apple, and we talk about their successes and their failures and where we want them to go versus where they are going, all that sort of stuff. It's a weekly show. It's Friday morning my time, but it's Thursday evening Eastern, and so yeah, if you haven't checked it out, why not do it? I'm really not happy with the state of this particular VR. It has got lots of crunchy stuff in it. Essentially what it is, it's just like corroded goo, yuck, awful stuff, and it's not melting. So it's making it very hard for me to get it out. Oh, God, what a mess. What a mess. What am I going to do with this? I mean, do I just use brute force? What do you reckon? Should I just whack it with a hammer? I'm going to whack it with a hammer. And that did nothing. Might have to get my board and find out where that goes. And then run a wire. Oh, that one worked. Brute force worked for that one. That was nice. I do have a Dremel here, but the problem I have is that, let me show you something here. So I have these special drill bits that I can use with my Dremel. And I'm going to try and open this without making all the drill bits spread all over the place. This is the smallest drill bit that I have. It is 0.3 millimeters in thickness. And actually, you know what? That will fit through. I was going to say that won't fit through, but it friggin' will. Huh. Cool. How long do you reckon this drill bit will last before I snap it? I'm just drilling this by hand at the moment. Oh, COVID. COVID. I do have a set of PCB drill bits. And as I say, this one here, which is 0.3 millimeters, I think, is our tick out of here. I am so going to wreck this drill bit. Oh, hello, Trina. I didn't even see that you had arrived. Hello to you. Thank you for joining. Oh, hello. Thank you to is it Moazam Raja. Thank you very much. I owe you for the Macintosh portable video, using that video now to help me debug a recently acquired portable. Awesome. I've actually seen quite a lot of portable stuff going on at the moment. There was someone selling one on one of the groups, and I saw someone else was talking about portables. I don't have one, unfortunately. That one was someone else's when I did that video. I would like one, but unfortunately they're one of the computers that's going for silly money. Oh, have a listen to this. This happened yesterday. Yesterday I went to a little vintage computer user group type thingy, and hello to all the guys from Nozfest. Hello to Murray, to Adrian, and all the other fellas that I caught up with yesterday. So someone got onto Gumtree. That's a little kind of, I guess it's like a Craigslist type thing that we have here, and they gave away for free, no money changed hands, a Macintosh 512KE with keyboard and with mouse and working and with original floppies for free. Talk about being in the right place at the right time. How cool is that? Yeah. Yeah. $700 for a needs work portable. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. $700 is a little bit pricey for one that's working 100%, in my opinion. I should mention that in the future we will be lucky enough to have access to a website that gives us guides, information about pricing of vintage Macs. This is being brought courtesy of Steve. It is not Steve trying to set prices for what he wants to pay for things. It's Steve sharing his abundant knowledge on how much he generally pays for things, or has seen things sell for. We know that there are certain people within the vintage Mac groups who think they set the prices on things, but at the end of the day the market is what sets the price on things. So we of course pay a lot more for things out here in Australia. It's just how it is, and that has a lot to do with the fact that there aren't quite as many of these things floating around, and for that reason they are rarer, and for that reason they then cost more. Right, now what size wire can I fit through this little fella? Huh? Huh? Can I get this big fat wire through there? Oh, I can. Yes. Alright, so what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be using this wire to kind of provide a foundation. Actually, for this I don't need. This is just trace repairs I'm doing here, isn't it? So forget about that. Right, so here's the awful spot. So I need trace repair here. Oh, why is it going out of focus? I know exactly why it's going out of focus. The little knobs, my little focus knobs, they're weird things are going on with them. Okay, they're okay. So, really the one that I'm most concerned about is this one here, the one on the right. That was the really stubborn one. Geez, I wish I knew what that went to. Let me... I mean, it feels like it... Look! Whoopsie. It looks like it, goes to a ground plane. Let's just check and see if I can get some beepity beep. So I'm grabbing my multimeter, putting it on continuity, which is where it goes beepity beep. And I want to see if I can get that touching some copper here and find out Shady Robot, thank you very much. 55 watching and just 26 likes. What the hell, man? Do performer computers need to be recapped yet? Some do. I think I might grab my SE30 board just so I can do a continuity test on this particular pin, because I want to know where that goes. Because I think I'm going to have to get creative with that one. I need to go get my SE30 board. So excuse me while I kiss the sky. I'll go get my SE30. Get this out of the way. Stop sucking up the tissue. Be right back. There we go. Whew. Heavy. This is my Macintosh SE30. This is my Macintosh SE30. It has a SCSI-2SD inside it, SCSI-2SD version 4.2, which is the last of the SCSI-2SDs that was released under the GPL license. And it's one that you can just make yourself. So I did. Made it myself. Right, let's get this board out. It's a little bit tricky. We don't want to break anything. I've got to disconnect the floppy and SCSI connectors, and I also have a network card in this one. I'm going to have to remove that. You can't get the board out without the network card coming out. That network card can go over there, and just hope I don't forget that's where I put it. Out comes the board. These are always a little bit tricky to get this connector off. Like that. This one's fairly loaded up. This one's got 68 megabytes of RAM. Because, you know, gotta have 68 megabytes of RAM with your SE30, don't you? Can't possibly use it with less than that. Couldn't possibly. So, let's have a look at where we are located. Where are we? We are talking about that one there, which it is literally directly above the, what is that, negative? The positive battery thing. So, let's just put this over here. Let's go back to the microscope. There's the... Yeah, okay, it's this guy here.
This little fella here.
Oh man. I've gone up as high as I can. And I'm still not quite in focus. Sorry. Oh, crikey.
Oh, crikey.
So what I want to do is I want to find out where this goes to. And that's going to be a little bit of a... I just try and figure out... You know, I really don't know. So we're just going to have to hope that I luck upon it. Well, there we go. That's where it goes. Beep. Goes to the positive terminal of the battery, so that in itself makes it fairly easy for us to go in and do a trace repair. That was my suspicion as to where it went, but I didn't want to go in and just presume. So what I can do is, I guess I could probably just run it from here across to here, I suppose. Okay. Let me just check. I haven't looked at the chat for a bit. Sorry about that. Nick Y, what sort of performer is it? Sorry, you may have said, but I missed it. Six one one six. 6116 CD. God, they brought out so many different bloody models of performer and stuff like that. I don't even know what that is. This is terrible. This is terrible. We haven't even got to the good bit yet. It's just a 6100. Okay, so 6100. That wasn't a performer, was it? Was it? I guess. Yeah. My 6100 is a little bit flaky actually. I have to do weird things to switch it on, but once it's on, it works fine. I think I need to replace the tip on my iron. This one just feels like it's getting so old. Always keep a spare. Okay. But I do like to try and get as much out of it as I can. Right, so we've done a little repair up to there, and then when we get to this on the other side, I will join this to the battery a hole just here. Might even do this. There we go. See how elaborate I've made this? Unnecessarily elaborate. I do have a reason for making it unnecessarily elaborate. And that is I just think it's going to be neater this way. But, you know. Just got to get creative sometime. Excuse me. Okay, there we go. So, what problems do we still have with this? The problems we still have are we have a diode missing a leg. I haven't even taken this one off yet. We have all sorts of silliness going on over here. Well, these two black blobs you see here are meant to actually be pads for holding a capacitor. They're gone. When you have the, you know, sort of these boards where they've gone a little bit crusty, you know, the solder has got it's got a film over top of it. It does make that cleaning process all the more important. You got to make sure that you're getting these things clean before you even attempt to try and put anything new on them. These melty soldering marks, they're not mine. Just want to go on the record. I did not do these melty soldering marks. But of course what it does do is it does make me feel like if I do accidentally do a melty soldering mark, who's going to know? Charles, hello. Thank you for joining. Oh, Micro Major Repair is here as well. And Adam McGee, did I say hello to you? What have we got going on here at the moment? Oh, look at that. 57, 58 viewers. Thank you very much for everyone who is watching. I am doing my best to make this interesting. I appreciate that. I may not be succeeding at that, but, you know, at least I'm trying. Oh yes, I'm always trying. Oh crap, what's happened to my hot air station? It's not on. And if it's not on, it's not on. Uh-oh. 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 Oh dear. Oh no, it's alright. Wobbly cable. Nothing to worry about. Everyone can relax now. It's okay. It's alright. It's cool. It's fine. Oh, we managed to save the legs on that one. That's good. I really do need to buy some spares of these, don't I? These diodies. Smash that like button. Coming this summer. I still haven't found those bloody things. Will you be streaming after this, Mac 84? Yeah, I already said that he was. Dear. Can I tell them about that really heavy thing that you brought home, Steve? Or is that a secret? No, different sort of heavy. The Smernali, hello from Turkey. Okay, hello from Sydney, right back at you. Thank you for the information you have given us. Glad if you open subtitle translations. Ah, yes. So this is actually one of the problems, I think, is when I do these live streams, there is an option for me to select the level of latency. You have normal, you have low, and you have ultra low. And when I select ultra low latency, it tells me there are things that won't work anymore, like subtitles and stuff like that. I think that's the case. So I do apologize. I do that to actually reduce the latency. But the fact that I have now had my very first request for subtitles, I may well go back to the different latency. So. Hello, Ron. Did I say hello to you before? Can't remember. I might have. I think I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Hello again.
I'm getting old, you see, and my brain stops working very well. Hey, what's that? Turn down that music.
One of the ways you know you're old when you're walking in a shopping centre and someone comes diving out of a place that sells hearing aids and says, "Excuse me, sir, would you like a hearing test?" It's like, piss off, I'm not that old. The hearing's one of the last things that actually works quite well in my body. You can reveal my crap and twist my arm. So anyhow, I mean, look, Steve was lugging some great big monitors around, but the one thing that he was lugging around, which I have a great deal of interest in, was a Apple LaserWriter NT, which, as someone who worked in pre-press and graphic design, I did that for about 15 years. The LaserWriter was a massively important part of that from a historical perspective. When we look at the history of Apple Computer and the fact that they were the dominant force behind, graphic design for a long time, a couple of the reasons for that, first of all, it was the WYSIWYG display. That made a huge impact. But the other was, PostScript, Adobe PostScript, and the laser printer. Really important things in the kind of the history of graphic design and whatnot. I always get the solder out of the hole that I don't care about, and the one that I do want to use, the hole, I can't get the solder out. On a compact portable motherboard, should I replace them with the same type or electrolytic caps? I would be inclined to stick with tantalums if I was you, if that's what they had on them before. Oopsie. Tantalums are solid, whereas electrolytics, we're talking about actual liquid electrolytics. They have liquid inside them and they can dry up and they can get old and stop working, whereas tantalums tend to have a longer lifespan. Tantalums are very reliable. And yeah, if it had tantalums on it to start off with, I would be inclined to keep them that way. Oh, come out, use solder. Yay! Dun-dun-dun. Yep, there are a lot of people that are afraid of tantalums. They talk about the fact that when they die, they short. But there is something very important to remember. There are certain reasons why I feel like tantalums are a problem, but that has more to do with the fact that they have tantalum in them. And tantalum is a quite rare mineral, which of course needs to be dug out of the ground. And if you're someone like me who is not particularly thrilled with the continual drilling of holes in this planet, you know, sort of the fact that sort of tantalum is something that needs to be mined is something that I don't like. But you know, that's another side thing. I'm certainly not going to start some sort of lengthy political dialogue on that. But the most important thing about tantalums is they are very, very reliable. And so it's all very well to then talk about what they are potentially going to do if they fail, but they fail so rarely. I mean, you can make them fail if you want to. But assuming that you're using a tantalum that's within its spec, and of course you're talking about a device where someone has designed it in the first place to use tantalum, so obviously well within their spec. There we go. I think that's through now. I'm going to test it. Interestingly, tantalum has one of the highest melting points of any metal. Does anyone know which metal has the highest melting point? Here's a little test for you. Anyone? 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 Yeah, I am aware of that that issue, Toby, and that is probably more to do with Apple's design than it is to do with that capacitor. Adamantium, titanium. Was that meant to be dilithium? I think that's made up from Star Trek. Tungsten. Joe got it. Joe always gets the right answers. Anyone who's not sure what tungsten is, that's what they used to use, or still do use, as elements in incandescent light globes, and that's one of the reasons why it's used, is because it has such a high melting point. Good old tungsten. But anyhow, tantalum is also right up there. I don't know, it's 1,000 degrees C or something stupid like that. Okay, I'm going to get this the pins out for this oscillator as well, so that I can replace it. But once again, I think I'll be better coming at it from this side, because there's not as much clutchy, yucky stuff. Let's see if we can get this pin out. Grab hold of it and pull. That's what she said. Where's Jay? Is Jay still here? I need the that's what she said person around. Generally don't like it when things explode when I'm working on them. It does happen. Sometimes I like to make things explode. You know, you just get a capacitor or something like that, and then you get a bench power supply, and you just short it and you blow the thing up. I did do it once, you know, on the live stream, and it was rather disappointing, so I stopped doing that again. Vibranium. Vibranium, that's the one that they have in Wakanda, isn't it? That's the metal that has turned Wakanda into the outstandingly powerful technical... was it a country? Alright. I wish I had a Dremel right now. We'll go out and buy one, Scarlett. The one thing I don't have for my Dremel, which I must get, is one of those extension-y things where you actually put the thing on the end of the Dremel and then you run like a snake there, so you're holding something really small rather than holding the whole Dremel. I don't have one of those. I must get one. So they appear to be very, very convenient. So just reminding folks that all this, what I'm going through here at the moment, this is the worst part of the board. So my hope is that once we get through this, the rest will be relatively smooth sailing. I knew this was the worst part of the board, and it's why I kind of decided to have a look at it first. I am one of these people that tends to do the worst part first. It's just the way I like to work. And there are two schools of thought on that. You can say, well, do all the easy ones first so that you feel like you're almost finished, and then do the worst last. But then I'm sort of like, well, and that last one is kind of looming over my head the whole time. I would rather do the hardest one first, and then I feel like it's smooth sailing for the rest of the way. Each their own, I guess. So what are we going to do about these diodes? That's a rhetorical question. You don't actually have to answer. See if I can get the solder out of that one. Might as well do the rest of these. Okay. Okay. Drugs are bad. Okay. So I'm gonna potentially get very creative with this here. I'm gonna put this diode back on. So I'll get that one now. It was this one, wasn't it? This is the good one. I mean, good is a relative term. Yep, this is the good one. Note to self, buy spare ones of these diodes. A6P. I'm going to have to go and look that up, you know, what an A6P diode is. I'll scrape off some of the crusty stuff on this. Just means that the solder will adhere to these legs a little bit easier. At the same time, I don't want to break these legs off, so you need to be pretty careful. I believe these diodes are just, far out, in place to to protect from someone putting in the backup battery the wrong way. I'm pretty sure that's what they do. So to some extent, I could run this without them. But you know, I like to fix these things while I'm there. You know, I don't want to go and do all this other stuff and test it and then have to go back and fix all these things up afterwards. I just want to get it fixed. Get it fixed. That is a diode. It is indeed a diode, and you'll notice that it only uses 2 of the 3 pins. This one here is a pad that just actually goes nowhere. There's no trace coming out of it because it is actually only using one part of that diode. There's another way I can tell you how I know it's a diode. It's labelled with a D. All of the Mac stuff has fairly consistent labelling. Allows you to know what's what nice and easily. Generally, if it's an IC or something like that, it'll be labelled with a U. BT for battery. Y for crystal oscillator. What else have we got? Maybe C for a capacitor. There we go. C for a capacitor. Q for a transistor. So they're all labelled on there. Thank you, Apple, for your consistency. Let's get some wire for replacing with a trace. I use this enamelled wire. It's the sort of wire that you would use for an electromagnet or a transformer. And I have had people who have watched my stream saying, hey, why are you using enamelled wire? Why don't you just use copper wire? You don't have to get rid of the enamel. The reason for that is that, yes, it seems ridiculous to even bother with using an enamel when you look at what I'm doing here, but other times I actually need to use this trace wire to snake across a board, and that's when it being insulated is actually very handy. So, alright, so here's my little diode where I've lost a leg, and I want to see if I can actually get this so that I can connect the wire to it. And yes, I should just replace it. I know I should just replace it, but I don't have a replacement. So we will try and get this sorted. Oh, crudly. What now, friends? Look it. Look it. I think what we have here is an absolute no way. So, right, let's piss it off. Let's piss it off. It's gone. It's gone. Forget that diode ever existed. Let's now look to steal one off a donor board. So let me go and check, which is really something I should have done from Ray Dot. Sorry, I'm all the way over here. I'll be back. Right, let's grab some donor boards here and see what we can find. Coming back. Sorry about that, folks. Normally I can just keep talking while I'm over there because I have my lapel mic, but unfortunately the lapel mic's not working properly today. I'm getting all sorts of distortion from it and stuff and things and such. So no. Okay, so that's no good. What are we looking at? We're looking at SE30, so I want something of a similar vintage. So maybe something like Mac 2-ish. What do we got here? Oh, there's the battery holder on that one. D, there's a D. That looks in pretty poor shape, to be honest. D. Oh, I'm gonna have to keep looking. Okay, Steve. Just kill time till you get back. Let's have a look. Just going through things, seeing what I have here. Oh, here we go. You know what? Oh god, they're already gone from that one. Right, let's just see if this one is in a good enough state for us to use, because I'm fairly sure this is the same diode. Can't see it because it's too small for my, age-weary eyes. 5DK. What were we? What were we? I can't remember. They could be the same. I'd have to look them up. These were A6. A6 diode. I mean, I feel like they're probably the same because it's virtually the same circuit that we're talking about here. It's these two diodes right next to the battery and the real-time clock and the crystal oscillator. So you sort of feel like with them serving exactly the same purpose with exactly the same voltages, they are almost definitely going to be the same, just potentially with different manufacturer codes on them. But part of me would definitely feel a lot better if I was replacing with exactly the same thing. I do have a board that I could probably steal one from. And it's one of the ones sitting behind the desk there. Sorry, I keep forgetting that you're not going to be able to hear me from over here. Sorry. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got who we can steal from? Needs to be something that... Actually, I'll tell you what I do have here. I have a fairly unhappy 2CI. Is that it? This looks like it. No. No? No? Yes? No. What on earth is this? It's definitely not a 2CI. Oh, yes, maybe it is. Whatever this is, it's a mess. Keep looking. Oopsie. Don't fall down. Here's the diode. Let's have a look at this one. 5D. So I'm all good with the 5Ds. So what do people think? Do you reckon I should just replace an A6 with a 5D? Dave is here. Hello, Dave. Welcome to the stream. I am freezing. I should turn my heater on. Okay, so who votes that I just stick a 5D in place of a, or Garth Beagle saying go for it? Is it this one? Nope. It's a KO2. Where did I get a 5D from? I mean, I must have bought them, surely. I really need to keep better files of where all my miscellaneous bits and pieces. Okay, so I've got some more miscellaneous bits and pieces here, I believe. So, what do we got here? What is that? That's a... That looks really big, whatever it is. Nope. Actually, you know what? No, I don't know. More bits. Sorry about this. Oh, what are they? No, they're screws. No, they're screws as well. This is one thing I can tell you. You cannot replace diodes with screws. That will not work. I can tell you that professionally. Here's today's tip. No. 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 Sorry about this, folks, but this is something that I do need to find if I'm going to continue with this work. I am very apologize. Okay, so here's the thing that's kind of getting me triggered at the moment. I know I have the crystal oscillators that I'm after, and that's what I'm actually hunting for at the moment. And so far I haven't found those crystal oscillators, which means that there is another container of bits somewhere, and that container of bits might have these diodes in it. Because I just had this sneaking suspicion I bought some of these diodes. There's my blue scuzzy bits. Stuff for making blue scuzzies. Which I like to do. It's one of my favourite pastimes. Building blue scuzzies. Oh, here they are. Goodness me. What are these? I see amplifier. Amplifier. Are they in the right container? Oh, good. Goodness me, that's off a modern Mac. Yeah, that's a little BGA. Little BGA jobby. Right. Okay, so I know what I'm going to do now. I am going to steal that 5D from over here. Here we are. 5D. I'm going to pinch this 5D, and I'm going to put it on this other one in replace of the A6. Okay, that took a long time, and I'm really, really sorry. I do like to apologise, don't I? So, I haven't looked at the chat in a while because I've been hunting for things and making all sorts of muffled noises because I've been too far away from the microphone. So, what have I missed? Can't find anything. Yes, I know that feeling. I knew a stripper once named Crystal Oscillator. Oopsie. I suspect I'm off camera here. Yes, I am. Sorry for the quietness. This is me concentrating. Very not entertaining, isn't it? Sorry. There we go. Did you order some of the tweezers with the grips? No, I haven't. Sorry. I've not done that thing you just mentioned. At a certain point, I knock all of the solder wick onto the floor, and then eventually I have to bend over and pick it up. But I don't have to yet because I still have more solder wick on the table. Right, so that's sort of connecting up the diode. What we now need to do is we need to obviously put in a new crystal oscillator, which I have here. This is a, what do they call them? They call them a wishbone, I think, a wishbone oscillator, something like that. I think that's what they call them. I'm going to do something weird today. I'm going to solder from the top. Who does that? Who does that? Some crazy person. Welcome back, Steve. Oh, how are we going? I feel like we're probably going to have lost lots and lots of people watching. Oh, no, we've actually gained some. Hello to everyone. If you said hello and I haven't said hello back, I apologise. There's obviously a lot of chat going on at the moment. It is nothing personal. I thank you all for joining and watching. For those who might have missed the beginning and have just joined recently, I'm dealing with a Macintosh SE 30 here, and it's essentially had a double whammy. First of all, it's been hit with battery leakage, and that's what we're dealing with here. There's a lot of corrosion and stuff being caused by a leaky battery. But the double whammy aspect of it is the fact that it has also been manhandled a little. And as I sort of said at the beginning of this, it's basically someone has had a go at recapping themselves, which is something that I encourage. So I definitely don't shame people if they make a bit of a job of it. But what I would always recommend to people is if you are going to give it a try, if you're trying out recapping for this first time, do try it on something that's not valuable to you. In the instance of this, where we've got evidence of, or we've basically got pads that have been lifted off, we've got, as you can see, quite a lot of melting going on here on this. There's quite a bit of corrosion in here, so this is definitely going to benefit from a good old ultrasonic clean. And I do have some concerns about what's in there. Look at that. I suspect that this may never be able to have a PDS. Yeah, look at that. They're actually breaking in there. You never know. Maybe. But I suspect this will probably never be able to have a PDS. I mean, unless they're pins that aren't used or something like that. Ruggers Customs, hello. Right. So, we're actually getting to the point now where I feel like I can probably start putting things together again. I'm going to get some thicker wire for this section here. I have thin wire and I have thick wire, and I have super thin wire. This is the thick wire, and I'm choosing the thick wire because I want this to actually work as a bit of support for the cap when I put it on. So I'm going to put that through the bottom there and melt it a bit. Get rid of this enamel, try and get this attached onto this little via here. If anyone has any questions they want to ask me, please feel free to do so. If I don't see them or if I don't respond to your question, if you just put the @Brankus Creations at the beginning of the question, it will highlight in red. So I can look at this at the moment and I can just glance over and I can see from House of Moth, did you order some of the tweezers with grips yet? They rock. And I believe him. I believe Jay. I believe that they rock. He wouldn't lie to me about something like that. But I haven't bought them yet, and I really should have, but I haven't. Okay, so this is now, where do babies come from? That's a very good question. So what it is there's a stalk. There's a stalk, and he delivers the babies wrapped up in like a towel or something like that. He holds them in his beak, and he drops the babies off like that. Everyone knows that's the truth. Yeah, you don't want PDS cards. Yeah, it's just too much hassle. Too expensive. The one thing which, of course, is getting really, really pricey at the moment, I think everyone who's into the vintage tech, the retro tech side of things, will be aware, is one of the most expensive things to buy at the moment seems to be accelerator cards. Upgrade cards, stuff like that. So if you're looking to get a vintage, I don't know, G3 upgrade, or, I mean, if you, for instance, I used to own my parents used to own a Macintosh Classic. And we ended up getting a Warp 030 accelerator for it. Now, I tell you what, I wish I had that today, because those things are just going for so much money. It would be really nice to have that. Now, admittedly, I wouldn't sell it. I would keep it. I'd stick it in a Classic and upgrade it to an 030, but because that's what I do. I don't get into this like certain people we know. I don't get into it to make profit from it. I get into it because I enjoy it. I'm the sort of person who I can just be like, you know what I want to do today? I want to whip out this Macintosh 2 SI and play with it. Right, that's attached on as well. People are often quite critical in the comments of my videos with the fact that I use a scalpel to cut these wires. I'm careful. I don't damage things with it, so it's all good. Right, so these here, because this wire is quite strong, they are going to serve as, you know, sort of some strength for the cap when I put it on. I will also use UV solder mask. I could use a component adhesive, but I generally don't like working with the component adhesive. It cures with heat and time and stuff, and I don't like time. I like to do things quickly. Garth Beagle, thank you very much. This one is not going to be pretty. We know that. That's established. What is that? Have we gone through to the next layer? We have gone through to the next layer. We've burned through to the next layer. So I might put some UV mask on top of that. Look at that. Far out. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. I got some really crappy cotton buds or Q-tips or whatever you want to call them. These little sticks with cotton on them. These ones are rubbish. And I don't like them. But I'm going to use them. I'm not going to just throw them away. Goldman Sachs would love to sell anyone an accelerator. Yeah. Scourge. Let's call him the Scourge. Say, everyone start saying horrible things about him, and let's see if we get a thumbs down. See if he's watching. A lot of people would argue, look, you know, at the end of the day, you can charge whatever you want for the things you own, which is fine. Yes, of course you can. But we're not just talking about someone who has something for sale and then says, you know, and then just puts it up for an inflated price. We're talking about someone with a very, very measured and structured approach at actually trying to push the prices of things up. And of course, lowballing people when buying things. So this particular individual, he buys things. He, you know, when people are selling things, he often offers people really low amounts for them, and then he, sorry, just concentrating. And then he resells them at a very high price. And you know, as I say, it's not. We're not talking about one like isolated incident of someone just sort of saying, oh, you know, they're asking too much for this, which of course we see all the time. And I love it when people say, you know, I know what I have. Yeah, okay, yeah, we know what you have as well. That's why we're trying to help you by saying you will never sell it for that price. But, yeah. It's that, you know, it's that kind of pattern of behaviour that's the part of it that I really don't like. You just have a one-off person going in and asking too much for a computer. It's like, wow, this poor guy's deluded. He's not going to sell it and everything. But it's this kind of real deliberate, measured attempt at driving prices up on things over a long period of time. And that I'm not a fan of. NK Morpheus, hello. Where it's through a couple of pads. Yeah, so the little bit of copper showing through. So I cleaned it all away now, but when I very first looked at that section on the board, it was burnt. So what's happened is a short has been created there from the damage, and that has then burned through some of the actual PCB. It's gone down onto the next layer down, which is, I think it's the ground plane. So I now need to clean that up and make it so that it's insulated again. Now I'm going to get my laser beam, a pew pew, a pew pew pew, a pew pew pew. I just know, here it is. So I am using a UV laser here. It's not a good thing to look at. It's not a good thing to shine at your camera either. I found that out the hard way. But it is very good at drying this UV solder mask, this UV curable solder mask. So I just shine this with this laser beam, pew 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 pew, and this stuff, which you can see at the moment is quite shiny, will eventually get more of a matte finish. G'day Matt, how are you? Matt who? Matt Finish. Oh, g'day Matt. It's already, you can see it's happening here. Thank you, Jay, for putting the link in the chat. Just to remind people that I do have a website called Recapamac, and on that website you will find guides, instructional guides for what caps go where and the polarity of those caps. And on some of them they even have links to where you can buy those replacement caps. In the future I will be selling recapping kits. At this stage they will only be being sold to Australians, but I may consider branching out later on with the assistance of a reseller over there. In the US, that is. When I say over there, I'm referring to the US. I refer to the US quite a bit, mainly because most of my viewers are from there. I can tell that from all the analytics on my channel. Garth, thank you for joining, and see you later. Volunteers to be a US reseller. Well, that would be welcomed. I just, yeah, because I was going to do recapping kits, and I went, bugger, I can't be bothered setting up an online store. And then, of course, I started selling SCSI to SDs, and that was necessary for me to set up an online store. So I now have an online store. So just adding a recapping kit is just, that's pretty straightforward. I buy these caps in large quantities so I can put together these little kits, and it actually works out quite cost effective for the people doing the recapping to not have to buy like 100 of a particular capacitor when they only need like 5 of them. Right. So let's get a cap on here, shall we? Let's pop a cap in his ass. This one will be a 47 microfarad 16 because almost all of them on this board are. I think there's only one exception to that. It's a 1 microfarad 50 volt, and it's located C6. Okay. This is a really funny one. So, and the positive is on this side, so that's the way it's going to go on there. Is there a way that I could get some UV mask on this? And see, the problem is that if I use UV mask as a glue, I can't shine the light on it because it's all covered. So, all right, let's just get this done. Let's just get this done. I may end up pushing this across a little bit, maybe about, I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking as I go. All right. Let's get some flux. I'll start off by trying to get rid of some of this enamel. I recently purchased a 395 NMUV pure solder mask. Is it sufficient? You see how you go with that. I mean, so far I've found that the just the flashlights, or as we refer to them over here, torches, don't really emit enough light. you can shine them on them, but you will quite literally need to shine them on there for like half an hour before you actually see the, come on, melt the enamel. There we go, now it's melting. Cool. You'll have to shine on there for like half an hour before you see the, sort of stuff start to cure, whereas the laser does it in like about a minute. But see how you go with it. I mean, you'll know whether it goes hard or not, and that'll tell you whether it's going to be enough. Am I content with that? I'm not sure I am content with that. There we go. I like the look of that better. Okay, so we've got that joint on one side, and then we'll join it on the other side. Okay, Jay. Once again, I will just kill time until you get back. Really should get the enamel off this first, shouldn't I? Yes, yes, yes. One of the things, look, seriously, if you are wanting to get this UV solder mask to dry as quick as possible, if you need to resolder in Canada, let me know. Thank you, Trina. I appreciate the offer. I may well take you up on that. One of the quickest ways of actually curing this UV mask is to put the board out in the sun. If you've got a nice sunny day, that great big UV light in the sky does an incredibly good job. What model is your microscope? I can't remember off the top of my head. It's got like an S in it, and it has like an M in it, I think, and maybe a T. But if you look in the description, you will find a link to it. I should put that another way. You should find a link to it. Right. I'm coming at this from a really bad angle. Let's get a better angle. Right. There we go. Now, of course, this is a bit wobbly. Wobble, wobble, wobble. But it ain't going anywhere. And once I secure that down with a little bit of UV solder mask around the sides there, that will be pretty darn secure. God, I'm getting stupidly fastidious here. Stuff it, you can stay there. Okay, so we've got our first cap on. How about that? It only took us like, what is it, an hour, something? 2 hours? Is it 2 hours? It's 2 hours for the first cap. Don't worry, the rest will be quicker. Okay, so we're making progress. We are making progress. This was the worst part of the board, and I feel at this stage that I am comfortable to leave this be. It may well need more work later on, because let's face it, if we're to be completely honest, when I fire this thing up, there's a very, very high likelihood that it won't work. Now let's go and do some more. So we've got another torn pad here. This one's a bit more straightforward. I've still got one good pad, which does make these repair jobs a lot easier if you still have one good one. Let's just go. 2 hours. 2 hours. Oh my goodness, you guys have got patience. Good on you. Good on you all. You know what? I'm feeling like, for a while there I was just feeling like this thing had no end. Now I'm actually feeling like there is an end in sight. For anyone who works with, or has worked with SE30s, or has done recapping on SE30s, or has ever done anything with an SE30, you are probably familiar with the problems related to these little guys, little row of chips here. It's the U8 row, so UA8, UB, UC, UD, UE, UF, UG8. It's not uncommon that these have to be replaced. In the instance of this one, it's not actually too bad. UE8 is usually the one that cops it the most because it gets the leakage from this capacitor living above it. But in this instance, this UE8 really doesn't look too bad at all. It's saved up the damage for other places. Ouch. Just burn myself. The thing is that when it comes to me burning myself, which I do a lot, it's just a part of working with soldering iron. The thing is that I actually very rarely burn myself on the soldering iron. I am more likely to burn myself on something that has been made hot by the soldering iron. In that instance, I burn myself on wick. I watched that the other night, John Wick. And I'd seen it before, but I watched it again. Baba Yaga. It's that one. I think it's that one. I think this is the one that I'm trying to clear out. I think. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Did I get the right one? Yay, I did. Joy, oh joy, oh joy. Eric, what did you miss? Well, first of all, there were the dinosaurs. And then there was a big meteorite and the dinosaurs died. And then there were people. But I think there were monkeys first. You might have to fill in some of the gaps. Now, this particular board is clearly going to make me work every step of the way. There are going to be no easy bits to this one, but that's how it goes. Focus, focus, focus. Just burning some enamel off this wire. Attempting to anyway. My chickens are still in. I didn't let my chickens out this morning. They're still in their coops. They're going to be so mad at me. They'll be waving their little fists at me. Who do you think you are? Yeah. Ugh. Okay, hang on. I see you, pigeon. Oh, that's a nice noise. When I put my little mask thing. I've got a little container of... Oh, did it fall on the floor? I mean, everything else has fallen on the floor. I have this little tin of the UV mask and I've misplaced it. I would think it's probably near the brush. I've probably knocked it off the table, which I'm not at all happy about, because it could be anywhere.
Oh, I see it.
And I did indeed knock it off the table. Oh, get ready for the old man noises. Oh, far out. Let's hope I don't have to do that again in a hurry. It's going to get a little bit of mask over there like that. Oh, it's a bit thick, isn't it? Crap. Way more than I needed there. Oh, far out. Took it out of me getting under the desk there. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm alright. I'll get better. I'm positive that is a pigeon. I could see it. I could see it through a reflection of a little mirror here. What's a chicken hawk? Am I supposed to know what a chicken hawk is? Is that a pop culture reference, or is it a natural thing? What is that from, Ron? Oh, of course, from Airplane. I've mentioned this before. That movie is not called Airplane in this part of the world. It came out under the name Flying High. Exactly the same movie, but for whatever reason, don't ask me why, it was always called Flying High here. Yes, I remember Johnny. I was like, Johnny, what do you make out of this? What was it? What do you make out of this report or something like that? Well, I can make a hat. I can make a brooch. I can make a pterodactyl. And what did he say about the plane? It looked like a great big Tylenol. Okay, so we've got this now firmly anchored on our one good pad, and then we will just use this nice thick wire here to give us some rigidity on the other side. Going to need 2 pairs of tweezers for this. I have 2 pairs of tweezers. I actually got like 5, but I just can't always find them. And I have mentioned this before, but of those Zucker movies, was it David and Jerry Zucker, or is that their names? I can't remember. Another one of theirs that they made, which I really enjoy, is one called Top Secret, starring Val Kilmer. You know, I get that it's, you know, it's not necessarily as good as, you know, sort of the original Airplane movie, but I tell you what, I love the movie. God, look at the size of that glob. I maybe have a little bit more solder than I need there. I tell you what, though, it's got to be strong. I'll just take some of it away. I won't take all of it. There we go. Okay. A little bit wonky, but we are dealing with fairly exceptional circumstances with this particular board. So we get what we get. But that's man, that's rock solid. That's safe as houses, mate. Okay. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I've cut myself. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Got blood. This is a customer's board. This board actually came from Israel. How about that? I do get boards sent to me from different parts of the world. That's an easy... Oh, look at that. That pad's lifting. I've got this little guy down here. So I've really only got... What is that? There was... That's that. Oh, there's another. Oh, yeah, there's another one here as well. So let's do these three, including this pad repair just there. It looks like a scalpel cut. I've clearly cut myself on this blade here at some stage and just not realised it. Yeah. Kind of feels weird when you're doing a board where you haven't had to take the caps off. You know, someone else has done it for you. This is just the normal cleaning process that I have here, where I'm just using flux and solder and heat, and I'm doing it very carefully because I can clearly see some of these pads lifting off. So I just want to get these as clean as possible without destroying them entirely. As much as possible, I would prefer to use the pad rather than repair it. A big pretty white plane. Okay. Alien or aliens? Are you talking about, are you referring to my shirt? My shirt? I'm a huge fan of the Alien franchise. Now, having said that, that really goes up to a 3. 1, 2 and 3. Not really a fan of things like Alien vs Predator or Alien 4 or some of the others. But I did enjoy Alien 1, Aliens, and Alien 3. Love those movies. And one of the things that I really like about Aliens as a sequel is the original Alien movie was this incredibly claustrophobic film, you know, these people that have no real defenses in this tiny little, you know, a huge mining ship, but, you know, ultimately in very confined spaces. and then and so it's incredibly suspenseful to watch the first movie. Then you go across to Aliens and it becomes a completely different story. We're now in a situation where we're talking about soldiers and we're talking about big action film, big action sequences and blam blam and all that sort of stuff. But we're now against a whole stack of these things rather than just one. And so the thing is that there's sort of films that I would, to some extent, rather not compare because they are so different in the way that they're made. They're almost like a completely different genre. They're both sci-fi, but I'm really struggling with this. I need to find which hole on this side. It might be that one because it's been heated. So let's try and suck the solder out of that one. Yeah. Which do I prefer? Well, now that's an interesting question. As I say, it is hard to compare them because they are two very different films. If I was in a situation where I had some time to kill and I wanted to sit down and watch a movie, I would probably be more inclined to put Aliens on than Alien. And that's probably just because I think there's more going on in that film. Oh, piffle. It's not the right one. I don't think it's the right one. I have got to find the other side of this bloody hole. I'm going to need to put my goggles on. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. So down 1, 2, 4. And it's up there. Ah, is that it? Is that you?
Is that you? I think I found him.
It's this guy. This guy. So, is it fixed yet? No, sorry, Jay. I am amazed that well, I'm not amazed that it's taken me this long. I knew it was going to take me forever. I do have some concerns. I do have to work today, believe it or not, as in like paid work. Someone is doing an update, and I have said that I will make myself available for that update. And although I am here at the moment, I'm not really super available at this stage. But I will be. Oh, you thing! Right. This is one of the questions I get asked all the time. What do you do about these stubborn holes when you're trying to get the solder out and you can't get it out? This is what I do. Get it covered in flux. I get a really big, hot soldering iron tip. One that's really going to transmit the heat well. I get some solder. I make sure that there's plenty of solder in the hole to start off with. Because solder likes hanging around with solder, so just waiting for it to heat up. So if you have plenty of solder in the vicinity, you're more likely to be able to get it to travel to where you want it to. Then I get this super hotness, and I go and then I still tear my friggin' hair out. I'm going to try it from the other side. See you, Trina. Thank you for sticking around. Sorry this is going for so long. Sorry you won't necessarily get to see it starting, or at least attempting to start. But I do appreciate that yeah, I got it. Well, it might only be the middle of the afternoon here. It's very different over there. One of the good things is that few of my Macac friends, not all of them, but a few of them, are real night owls. I often find myself chatting away to Jay from House of Moth, or Dana from Dana Does Stuff, or Steve from Mac 84. I find myself chatting to them at, well, you know, quite late in my day, which means very early in their morning. Cleaning as I watch. Excellent. Good on you, Steve. Right, so this is another pad repair. Now, just let it be known, I know that what I am doing here is not actually a pad repair. I have not repaired the pad. I've replaced it with something else. Some people get really funny about that in the comments of my video. They go, excuse me, sir, but I have watched your video and it is not actually a pad repair. You have not actually repaired the pad. You should not call it a pad repair video. Delete. Okay. I really should change back to my normal tip, shouldn't I? Yep, this is true. I have not done a single pad repair. Yes, of course I do have the few locals. I mean, I do have some people watching from Australia, people like Dana and people like Oz Retro Comp. There are definitely people here from Australia, but the majority are from other parts of the world, and that's mainly because they're Australia's smaller population. We don't have as many of this kind of niche retro computing interests. Oh. No, this is not the same board, Javmaster. That one it hasn't arrived here yet. And that is because it hitched a ride with another computer, and it's arrived in a place which is about just a drive. I think it's about an 8-hour drive, something like that. Quite a way away, and it is coming here soon. The person who has it is bringing it to me soon, but it has not arrived here yet. So this is another board that came to me. I do get a lot of SE30 boards coming to me. And this one came to me from Israel. And this came from someone who had a crack at... Well, actually, to be honest, I don't even know that this person, the person who sent it to me, is the person who did the recapping on this, or attempted recapping on this. For all I know, they could have bought it this way. They haven't really elaborated. Yeah, so this is one where someone has had a crack at recapping, and they've done some damage along the way, and so they have just reached a point where they've gone, you know what, I'm going to have to give this to someone else. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I mean, it does of course mean that it's going to cost them more. It's going to cost more than just a normal recapping, because, well, I mean, you know, if this is normal recapping, I'd be well and truly finished by now, and I'd be sitting down and having some lunch. Stick, you solder. I need a Quadra 700 recap. You shouldn't need a 700 recap. They've got tantalums on there. Has something happened to the tantalums? I love the Quadra 700. I have one. In terms of the Quadras that I have a Quadra 700, Quadra 950, Quadra 660 AV, Quadra 605, or is it an LC 475? I don't know. It's one of those two. What else have I got? Oh, I've got a 610. It might be a centrist though. I think it's a centrist, but I upgraded it to a quadra. I put a proper 040 chip in there, not the LC version. LC variant. I have to move this out of the way. Do you like gladiator movies? You ever seen a grown man naked? Oh dear. Whoopsie. Quotes from Airplane Flying High. I tell you what I did like. I don't know if anyone here saw Airplane 2 or Flying High 2, whatever, Airplane 2, with William Shatner in it. William Shatner was so funny in that movie. Just really taking the piss out of himself. It was fantastic. Uh-oh. It's not straight. Quadra 610, 684, 25 megahertz. That's different oscillator. Okay, here we go. Part 2 of Dan's video today. Which video was that? I haven't watched that video. All right, we are getting close here, dangerously close to this being finished. I'm going to do a couple of these easy ones just to feel like I'm getting somewhere fast. Whoops, melty. Come on, guys. Okay. I'm not quite sure. I have a 610. I actually have a 610 in a case from a 610 because I had another 610 but it didn't work. But I'm not quite sure why. But when I got back into the collecting, as I was collecting before, I really wanted to get a 610. And I think it's because of the form factor. I think it's that large pizza box case, the same one as the 6100 and 660. I kind of like that form factor. A lot of people don't, but I do. I just like the case. And I love being able to open them up nice and easily. That's very handy when you're wanting to do things like test hard drives and stuff like that. I hate the button. I hate the power button on the front. The mechanical button that when you take the case off, you can't push the button in properly because it's sort of it's recessed, and you end up having to try and find a pen or something like that to shove in there to get the thing to power on. That is really pissy offy. I wish they had just stuck with like a soft, a soft start, like the 2CI, switching it on from the keyboard. That actual mechanical power switch on the front is a real pisser. But that's really my only criticism. Other than that, I do quite like them. Now, look at this funky looking pad here. Oh man, this guy looks like he's seen a lot of action. I'm surprised it's in as good a condition as it is. What with the rebellion and everything. Yeah. Just want to tell you, we're all counting. Oh dear, well, this should be called the airplane stream, shouldn't it? I am, very much a lover of kind of movies and pop culture and movie quotes and stuff like that. So I enjoy all these quotes coming in. Cockpit, what is it? It's a big room at the front of the plane where the a little small room at the front of the plane where the pilots sit, but that's not important right now. Oh, Mr. Fahrenheit, thank you very much for that. I do appreciate that. Oh dear. I do feel like we're getting close at this stage. Now, I did say right at the beginning of the live stream, I said one very, very important caveat, and that is this board is dirty. And there's a very, very high likelihood that it's going to need a clean in order for us to get anything from it. And cleaning and drying does take quite some time, too much time for me to actually keep in this live stream. So if we do go to fire this up and it doesn't work, the next thing I'll do is I will clean it. But I just want everyone to be prepared for that eventuality. That, I may not get it working in this live stream. We will test it in this live stream, but it may not work. And it might go fizzed. Who knows? Any Blazing Saddles fans? Yes, I am certainly a Blazing Saddles fan. Now, having said that, I haven't watched it in a long time, but there was a time in my life where I could just about quote that movie from start to finish. I think I might do a little repair along here. What do you reckon? Groovy. My name is Jim, but most people call me Jim. A man who drink like that and he don't eat, he is going to die. When? I didn't get a harumph out of that guy. Candygram for Mongo.
Mongo like candy.
All right. I think we're ready to put some caps on here. Oh, what? There's a pigeon. I'm just going to have a look here. There's this website called Recap a Mac, and it has these recapping guides, and I just want to make sure that I am actually going to put the right caps on this. Go to the resources menu and go down to SE30, Macintosh SE30, and then we can go down and we can see that we have one microfarad 50 volt and the rest are 4716. That's of course in all of the surface mount electrolytic. There are of course these axials, but I won't replace them in this video. That will probably come a bit later. So, right, let's clean this up a bit. Going to need some what do you call this stuff? This fluxaroonie stuff. I'm going to need to suck out the solder out of this hole. One of the things you will find on the Recap a Mac website, when you look at the guides, you will actually find a pinout for every single one of these little pins on these two sound chips, and that will tell you, for example, this little trace here which is cut, that'll tell you where that goes to. Like a magic. Right. So, this is our last pad repair, which is, again, we've established is not actually a pad repair. It's a pad alternative, a pad replacement, a pad substitute. How about that? That's the word, pad substitute. No. Mr. Fahrenheit, that is not. Classic is not the only Mac to use a sound chip for reset. This one does as well. Quite a few of them do, as a matter of fact. So, what you'll basically find is you'll find this reset button, whichever one it is, it's one or the other, I can't remember. It is wired into one of these sound chips. You know, I in a lot of the videos that I have done, some of the pre-recorded ones where I actually go through certain procedures and I do them, you know, I edit the video together so that it's brief and not a great big marathon thing like we're watching today. In those videos, I make it fairly clear that when I am actually doing these sorts of repairs, I'm aiming for, I'm aiming for restoring continuity first. I'm looking for strength and, you know, long-lasting second, and then I'm looking for aesthetics third. So, you know, I don't really focus too much on the look of these things, these repairs. I'm not saying that I don't take care with it, and I'm not saying that I don't actually try and get them as tidy as I can, but I don't go too crazy, too silly into you know, sort of trying to make them look absolutely pristine, because at the end of the day, I sort of feel like having the computer working is the most important thing. Right. Some will disagree with me, and that's all fine. But, you know, I do make it pretty clear to people when I do repairs for them. that what I am mainly focused on is making the computer work and make it so that it will keep working. Goodness me, sitting on 66 people. Hello to everyone. I apologise if I'm getting a little bit boring or this is getting tedious. This has been going on for a very long time. I guess the one good thing about this one, as bad as it is giving me an opportunity to demonstrate quite a lot of the procedures that I use in trying to get these things working again. So, you know, if you were jumping onto this live stream to actually see how I do some of these things, it's a very good one. But I also am very mindful of the fact that it has been going on now for 2 hours and 45 minutes. And people are probably sitting there going, oh, when's it going to end? So when I put this cap down, this specific cap, what I am going to want is I'm going to want it so that the one pin is sitting right on that little trace. And I am actually going to try and adhere the cap to that trace. I know it's not much, but hopefully it will be enough. So I'm going to need to position this one very strategically, just there like that. And then get this. Ow. Cap's getting hot. Okay, so that's being held on there by that wire, and then I want to try and, oh man, look at that, look at it, look it. You know what I'm going to need? I'm going to need Jay's favourite tip. Jay from House of Moth. There are two things that he absolutely adores. Number one is LED lights. Number two is a conical tip on a soldering iron. Huge fan, huge fan. Joe, I'm really looking forward to your super secret project. Your projects are kind of awesome. Not conical. Alright, let's get this. Let's make this happen. Let's make this happen. I need a big glob of solder here, and I need the tweezers, and I use the pointy end. Come on. It is on, but it's so precarious. I wonder if I just get a little bit of, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a little bit of metal in there that might assist us. I'm going to grab an off-cut from like a resistor or something like that. I always keep a few of those floating around. And, well, there's a fat one. Maybe I can find a thinner one than that. Nope. What are these? These are pins of like very big fat diodes or something. I want something thinner. Is that thinner? Or does it just feel like it's thinner? Yeah, it's pretty big too. Anyhow, we'll give it a try. This is me playing it by ear. This is me winging it. Crap, why the hell doesn't it break? Whoopsie. Okay. Where'd it go? I don't know if this is going to work, but I was just thinking if I can... Oh, geez, that's huge. It's huge. I'm just going to use this wire instead. Finally get a micro-soldering pencil, you can get rid of that conical forever. Yeah, I know. I know. Maybe I'll do that with my Google money. Or my Amazon money. Getting all that internet money. So, tell me, what constitutes something being cursed? I know I know why Sean from Action Retro's SE30 was cursed, because that one used to, the CD-ROM tray used to just open and close by itself. Oh, that was really good if I wanted to bridge it to that pin. Crap. Oh, damn it. I don't have room in here for soldering iron and tweezers. Okay, there we go. Is it any better than it was before? Who knows? And it's very wobbly, but I am going to give it some more rigidity later on. Let's get my little side cutters. Wherever I put them, here they are. Okay. So once this has all been cleaned up, the next step with this will be, of course, to go in and make these repairs a little bit stronger. And I do that with a variety of different ways I can do that. I've got things like conformal coating, which is the stuff that you paint on and then it goes hard. You can even use nail polish, works quite well. You've got to wait for it to dry, of course, but it creates like a sort of an enamel coating on things. Just get like a clear nail polish, something like that. You can use a UV solder mask, which is obviously what I use most of the time. You just paint the UV solder mask on, you dry it, then you end up with this little hard coating there. Whoopsie. Okay. There we go. All right. We are finally getting to the end of this. Last 3 caps. No more pad repairs. And I can finally test it and maybe have some lunch. Now, if I were going to be making a guess of the chances of this starting up, you know, SE30s are finicky. They are really touchy little things to work with. We've all heard of CMAC. Well, I shouldn't assume we all have. If you haven't heard of CMAC, it is a state. It's referred to as CMAC because apparently CMA is, I think, in another language for zebra or zebra. And so, but anyhow, these, you know, sort of SE30s, when they're not happy, they give you this CMAC, which is where you get weird things, weird patterns and stuff happening on the screen. Now, here's the problem with it. When you end up with that happening, it's not an indication of a specific problem. It is merely an indication that there is a problem. I regularly liken it to the engine light on your car. When your engine light starts flashing, it's not telling you what's wrong, it's just telling you something is wrong. And that's kind of how it is with SE30s when they're not happy. And thankfully for me, pretty much every SE30 that I've ever worked on, when it actually came to it having problems, I have actually been able to physically see what the problem is. I've been able to find it, with one or two exceptions. So, it makes it easy to then resolve the problem, because you can say, oh, I can see what it is here. It's a cracked pin on this chip, or it's a broken trace next to this capacitor, or it's some corrosion around the pins of this, that sort of thing. And so you see what the problems are, and then you can address them. I've had a couple of instances where I couldn't see what the problem was, but I was able to figure out what the problem was based on the certain symptoms. Japanese, it is Japanese, yeah, okay, cool. I thought it was, but I didn't want to say it and then get it wrong. I didn't want to offend anyone. Didn't want to offend anyone of, different languages or cultures, because we're a very accepting channel here at Brankus. We do not wish to offend anyone, except for Jonathan Goldman. It is our intention to offend Jonathan Goldman. The funny thing about the zebra pattern is that you can end up with that problem being caused by things on opposite corners of the board. You'd be something focused on this area or something focused on that area, and you get the same result. About to post G4 Cube Tower to Twitter. Feel free to post a link in there. Dana, you have the magical admin rights there to post links, so there you go. For those who aren't aware of Dana Sibera's work, it's pretty amazing stuff and very funny. Now, I suspect that if you were not an avid Mac user, you may not necessarily get some of the in-jokes related, but it's wonderful artwork. She's a Photoshop whiz. I worked as a retoucher for a while. Can't say I enjoyed it very much. Most of the time it was just people telling me to make women's boobs bigger. Okay. Right. I grabbed more caps than I need. I am just tempting the capacitor fairies today. Started out removing models' knees. That's right, because you can't have knees. Not allowed to have knees. Yeah. Stop it. There we go. Alright, I'm going to have a look at this. Whoopsie. want to have a look at this link that Dana's just put in here. I'm jumping across to have a look at this while waiting for my soldering iron to get hot. And have a look at this little twid Rooney. Oh wow. Oh, I love it. Oh man, that's cool.
It's so cool.
Right, let's get this last 3 caps down on the board and then we can have a little bit of a test. And then everyone who has been patiently watching up until this point can be rewarded either with beautiful, blissful sounds of a chime, or, well, if you're really lucky, something might blow up. So, given the fact that this board did have burn marks on it, we won't rule that out as a possibility. But of course, then it could just be good old SEMA CMAC, or it could be completely dead. God, I'm getting so much solder on the other one by accident. By accident. Can I transfer solder from this one to this one? Whoop. Nope. Won't let me do that. I am going to suck some of that solder away because I do not like the look of it when it's all big and blobby like that. Got a reputation. Oh, I can't see the chat. I've hidden it. I've hidden it. There we go. That's better. Okie dokie. Right. Okay, well, we are getting to the pointy end here, folks. I'm not going to put a battery holder on yet, and I've got a lot of work to clean up here, but I am feeling like there's enough in the way of continuity around here that we might be okay. Could be okay. Possibly okay. Alright. This thing is not going to work. I've called it. I've called it. This thing is not going to work. Oh, oh my back. Oh, my front. Is that a trace brake there? Okay, well, we have a couple more things to deal with here before we fire it up. We've got a trace brake there, we've got a trace brake there, and we've got a trace brake there. So, thankfully, they're nice, quick, easy ones. So we won't be too concerned with that. Let's just get some wire so we can feed this through. Apologies that I didn't see these brakes earlier on. I was too busy fussing over other stuff. So stop your fussing. Yes, I had quite a few people actually jumping on thinking that this would be the board that Steve sent to me. It's not. It is one of the many SE30 boards that get sent to me. I do get lots of SE30 boards sent. And this is... huh. Yeah, so this is one that someone tried to recap themselves and made a few little boo-boos along the way. And we are just in the process of fixing those boo-boos. Hey, boo-boo. Alright, so Jay's made a suggestion. He said I should do a Q&A. So in other words, people could just fire questions at me and then I can answer them, or I can attempt to answer them. Oh crap. And these videos, I generally try and promote as Q&As as much as possible, because I like people to be asking me questions while I'm doing this stuff. I mean, apart from everything else, it keeps me entertained while I'm doing the work, and it also means that I can sort of share some knowledge while I'm at it. So if anyone has any questions I would like to chuck at me. Any questions about repair work or soldering or scuzzies. And if I don't know the answer, I will make something up. Very good question to Jay from House of Moth. Do I prefer using a wet sponge or the little brass mesh balls? Well, here is your answer. Little brass mesh balls. I like using these very much. And you know what? I mean, I think they work better than a wet sponge. But there will be people out there that will absolutely swear blind. They will say until they're blue in the face that the wet sponge is the way to go. But it's just the one I like to use. I just feel that it keeps the tip looking good. It's probably wearing the tip away a little bit at the same time, but you know what? Tips of irons are consumables. You know, you can't think of them as being something that is going to last forever. Now, admittedly, if you're someone who doesn't solder much, your tip's going to last you a really long time. But as I mentioned sort of earlier on, I mean, I go through tips. I have always to keep a spare here because I go through tips because they are a consumable item. They wear down. Whoopsie. What gauge size wire do you use to fix traces? You will find in the description of the video, right down the very, very bottom, there is actually a list of the 3 different wire sizes I use. And what we're actually using right here at the moment, this one right this very moment, this one is 34 American wire gauge, a 34 AWG. And that's what I'm using for this. This thicker stuff is the other one. I can't remember what it is. I think anyway, this one's actually in millimeters, so that's not in AWG. It's 0.31 millimeters, so whatever that is in AWG. But again, it is in the description there. So whoopsie, that's probably moved on the other side. Oh dear. Snippety snip. Where's my... oh, there it is. Scalpel's underneath. Now that one doesn't want to cut. That one is actually a trace repair. That one we do want to cut. And that one we do want to cut. And let's just see that they're still where we want them to be on the other side. 1, 2. So, I am about to test this. And as I mentioned before, essentially I am saying it's not going to work. And it will need more work. But, you know, this will potentially have to turn into a two-parter. As I say, I am going to have to finish this live stream because I do actually have to work today. One of my valued clients is doing a migration from one server to another today, and they have asked that I can assist them with that today, do some testing and stuff, which I have said yes. Right, so let's test it, shall we? Now, the person didn't send me a ROM sim with it, but I do have a Rominator, big mess of wires, BMOW Rominator 2. This is a 32-bit clean ROM, which means you don't need to run mode 32 on these in order for it to pretend to be 32-bit. 32-bit clean ROM, but most importantly, these are programmable, so you can actually boot from these, and you can even edit the contents of it, so you can actually boot from the ROM. So if you don't have a hard drive, you boot from the ROM. It's great. I won't stick all the RAM on because we don't need to. I only need 4 megabytes in order to see if it's going to start. So let's just grab that now, shall we? Oh, I can smell pastry. Somewhere around here cooks pastry at a shop or something like that. It smells like pies. Yum. Rominator is a very good thing. There is only one thing I don't like about the Rominator. I don't like the chime. I don't like the sound of the new chime they put on it. Just not a fan of the noise. I would rather they just had the old chime, or you know. That's my only complaint. Quickly going to check to make sure that I got all the caps on and I got them in the correct polarity. It's a bit of a mess, but you know what? Mess in, mess out. There's only so much I can do when they come to me in this condition. And my main focus is, as I said before, is having it work. So, shall we try? Now, as I mentioned before, my initial call is that it will not work. Now, what I will then do, the next step that I will take is I will put it in the ultrasonic cleaner for I want to get it perfectly clean. And then I will go back and give it a close inspection, or then test it after cleaning. Then I'll go back and give it a close inspection to see if we've got any more broken traces, because I've already repaired quite a few broken traces because this has had battery leakage around here. I'm not bothering to put a battery on. It doesn't need a battery to start. It's not one of the computers that must have a battery on it to start. So yeah, let's kick it in the proverbials. Oh. And one of the things that I can actually do with this, thanks to the ingenuity of a certain Mac 84 person who told me that I can just get an ATX cable and cut it in half to create an extension. So I can now test this out with the board not even in the chassis. I can just plug this little extenderoonie thingy on here, like this, and then I can put the board here, and then I'll just get a speaker and connect it to the board so I can hear whether it goes ka-ching, gong gong. Right. Okay. Connect it up there. I don't know what's the best view for this at this stage. I mean, should I be looking top down? God, I've got no room for a mouse here on this desk at the moment. So I've got top view here. Oops, no, top view. There's the top view. But I think it would probably be better at this stage to just bring this camera down a smidgy edge, and so you can see what's happening on this screen. So we've got that there. Paching? No, no. Yeah, that's not really a paching, is it? Speaker. Okay. Connected up a speaker. I'm a little bit, yeah. I mean, yeah. If this starts, I'm going to go out and buy a friggin' lottery ticket. So, as I mentioned before, we have 3 possible outcomes that I can imagine. There might be more, but 3 most likely outcomes. Outcome number 1 is it works. That's a very unlikely one. Outcome number 2 is that we get CMAC patterns on the front here. Sorry, I bumped the microphone. That probably made a horrendous noise. Outcome number 3 is it's completely dead. And outcome 4 possible outcomes. Outcome number 4, something blows up. Now, I know you guys are all rooting for number 4, because I know you people. But we'll just see what ends up happening with this. So, right. Okay, we ready? This is me switching it on and standing back far enough so that if something does blow up, I don't die. Or lose my vision. Or anything else that might happen bad. Okay, ready? Okay, well, I heard the ticking sound of the speaker, and there we've got CMAC. So that was, you know, probably the most likely outcome. And you can see this very, very distinctive CMAC pattern going on here. Now, one thing I will do before I can just give up all hope at this stage, I want to just give this ROM sim a bit of a wiggle, because sometimes you can get that CMAC just because the ROM isn't making proper contact. So I'm just going to try and, because there's a lot of gunge on this. So I'm just going to do that, and then I'm going to hold the RAM really taut here, because that can sometimes do it as well. Okay? Yeah, no, we're CMACing again. So, this is definitely going to turn into a 2-parter, to be expected. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this ugly CMAC piece of garbage. I am going to drop this board into the ultrasonic cleaner. I'm going to give it a good old clean, good old-fashioned ultrasonic clean. Then I'm going to get it and probably get it back in front of the microscope again. And, well, I'll test it after ultrasonic cleaning. I'll get it up in front of the microscope, and I may well do a part 2 tomorrow. So I will need to finish this off because, as I say, I do have other things that I need to get done today. I would like to thank you all very much for joining me. Thank you very much for the company. And to the 73 of you... Jesus, I should just come up with something else to do, shouldn't I? My goodness. This is quite a large number of viewers here. So anyhow, yep. And I would love to actually keep going and just do something else, but I do have to get going. And you know, but thank you very much to everyone who has watched. Thank you very, very much to people who you know, sort of have been here keeping me company throughout this process. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy it. And yes, we will hope to pick this up tomorrow, round about the same time. And hopefully get this thing up and running and see that it does actually work. So thank you, people. Once again, I am sorry to be disappearing when there are so many people watching, but as I say, have other things to do. So thank you, people. Have a good one. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for all the super chats for people who gave them, and I will see you next time. Bye now.